Welcome back to the Dhane Josh Show, where we'll be talking all things sports, sports legends of Buffalo, and of course ourselves.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about changes around the league, life in Buffalo, and not one, but two special guests, Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power. Let's get into it. So one of my favorite things about the sport of lacrosse is just how unpredictable it is. Rochester being an expansion team over the last couple of years, finished last place in the East Division. And all of a sudden this year, they're the only undefeated team left, really. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for the sport. Obviously, you want to see those expansion teams do really well off the start, and they have an expansion draft, which is cool for those teams, tough for us. Obviously, losing guys. I know we've lost a lot of talented players over the past, but every team does. Unfortunately, you can only protect 10 players and one goalie, so it's pretty tough to pick and choose those guys. But that being said, it's exciting for the league to kind of grow. And it takes a few years, but Rochester's at that point where they're taking that next step. And
man, they have a couple big acquisitions this year. Obviously, a guy that we lost, Connor Fields, he's been lighting it up. And we saw the talent that he had last year, playing with them day in and day out. But to see him kind of grow into a role with Rochester as being one of their top guys is a really cool thing. Another guy, Brad Gillies, which is a huge pickup for them. Righty D guy who tries to make my life miserable is good. But also, a guy that even just this year that we were going through training camp with is Jordan Sturos.
Yeah.
That's another big time kind of loss for us and a big time pickup for them. So
yeah, it's kind of weird. They're kind of like the Buffalo farm team where they have a lot of guys. Again, you said Fieldsy, you said Sturos. I know Matt Gilroy was there. Hogarth. It's pretty weird to see them on the other side. You have so many close relationships with those guys, and now to see them, now we're going to battle against them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I know Sturos likes to two-hand me in practice, so now it's going to be one of those times where it's going to be on. I'm going to try to beat him as much as possible, and it's going to be a good battle.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we have a big divisional game coming up, and so tell me what are your feelings? What are your thoughts? Obviously they're 5-0, we're 4-1. It's kind of got that Battle of Titans kind of feel. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that pans out in sports. I feel like it always does, whether it be for us or for somebody in the league, that there's always one of those games where it's bigger than anticipated.
Yeah.
You never probably thought that Rochester was going to be 5-0 and we were going to be 4-1 and it was going to be the battle for the East. That being said, it's going to be exciting. I think they call it the I-90 matchup, and everybody from Buffalo travels to that game. So I remember my first ever game there. It's hectic. You have half Bandits fans on one side, half Rochester fans on the other, and it's going to be a great game. It's pretty cool to see that it kind of panned out this way, and it's a battle for first place in the East.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those games where, like, I feel like they've got a lot of redemption. You know what I mean? They've got that feeling, 'cause going back to last year in their barn, it just felt like Bandit Land was there in full support. And it's one of those things where you know that they're going to remember that and they're going to come out hot trying to, prove a point to us. And I know we're always up for the challenge, and I think that's part of it, and that's why we just love this game so much, is because every week it's just a new challenge, and we get to continue that.
Most definitely, and it's pretty cool that we're finally the underdogs. And
yeah, I like that.
I like being the underdogs as well.
Better.
So, I think they're the team to beat right now, and again, we can go in there and think there's nothing to lose and just leave it all out there and see what happens.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a couple kind of big changes going on around the league. With New York losing their GM, Vancouver losing their GM as well. New York's kind of been struggling a little bit, which it's kind of crazy to think about because, they've got all the pieces. Again, they brought in a couple big guys as well. do you think that they're going in the right direction? Or?
I definitely do. For us last year, that was the toughest team we had to face for a while. They took that stride towards the end of the season. I think they were on a 3-4 game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the best players to, I think, ever play, and it's still early in his career, Jeff T. And I honestly feel that way. It's crazy. Picking up a guy like Kevin Brownell that I was very close with, you were very close with, a great leader back there. They've built a lot of great things there. In sports, it's weird. I don't know if I totally agree with firing a GM for your team struggling. I think that's the easy route.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm not up there, so I don't really know how that works. But as an athlete, I know it's on us. So when we see the coach get fired or the GM get fired, again, I'm not like, it's on us. And that's why, and I get it, it's the easiest position to kind of take away. You can't just keep taking away players and players and players and figuring out. But that being said, it's just, I don't know where I stand on that.
It's almost a wake-up call, right? And, on a smaller level, it's like when, you're in a game and, it just feels like they're on a run and they're scoring. And half the time, like, it's not necessarily the goalie's fault, right? But they're trying to pull the goalie just to kind of get a boost into the team. And obviously this is a bit larger of a level where, they're firing someone and they're getting rid of a GM. And it's like, I think exactly what you said. Like, the players need to take that personally, and really just like do what they can to produce on the floor. And it's not even that they're not right now. It's just like it feels like things just for them aren't just falling into place.
Yeah.
And they're so talented.
Right.
And T is on a different level. It's absurd.
Sometimes you have those years where it's not clicking, and you could be one of the best teams. Like, again, Saskatchewan last year.
Yeah.
They were a franchise that you never wanted to play against. No. They were winning every year, and you're just like, how are they doing that? Last year, they couldn't tie a game together, and they didn't have that many missing pieces. Their team didn't change too much, but it was just one of those years that they couldn't tie a win together. And I think you're seeing that with Rochester. But again, it's still early in the season. You don't want to blink too quick, though, because that season goes quick. So I know they're making some changes, and we'll see what happens. But to kind of go off that is, you're from Vancouver. Tell me about the franchise, or like what direction you think they're going in.
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, Dan Richardson just stepped down, and I know that he had some health issues, so I'm hoping that he's doing well. But at the same time, it's like they're, again, a team that was kind of struggling at the beginning of the season. I think they just got their first win, which is big, but it's like it's just, for whatever reason, growing up in Vancouver, it was like there was always a struggle for some reason. I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was like back in the day when they were playing out of like the Langley Event Center, where it was hard to get to games, right? So that kind of made it a little bit tougher. And I mean, I'm out east. I don't know why players don't want to go back to Vancouver and play, right? I don't know what that mojo is or what's going on, but
yeah, it's like it's similar, like you just said, like your Vancouver is like our Toronto for the most part. That being said, I don't want to play for Toronto, but there's a lot of guys that do, and they fall back on that. As they get older, it's closer to home, and they want to go play for an organization close to home, whether it be Toronto, whether it be Buffalo, whether it be Rochester. And it's just weird to see that you don't see that much in Vancouver. And again, I think they brought in a great coach who we both got coached by him, Troy Gordonley, and now he's taking over the Rangers GM, and I know he'll probably do the right things. And again, the West is so hard. Every team is so hard.
So talented.
So when you kind of start off like that, you're wondering, you're second guessing, you don't understand what's going on there. And I'm sure they'll figure it out, but that's why I asked.
Yeah, no, and to be honest with you, like I was close to I think it was my second year in school, and I was close to dropping out of school and going and getting drafted by them. They had, I think, the second overall pick at that time, giving me the entire story. Oh, your face is gonna be on buses, all this stuff. And
Yeah.
as a young kid, you're like, oh, that's what I want. That's what you always dream for, right? Is being able to kind of play at home in Vancouver. But I found a new home here in Buffalo, and I really just couldn't be happier, man. So, but also over the past year in Buffalo, the city's been through a lot, and we're gonna get into that a little bit after this break. Welcome back. And obviously, all these things are on totally different levels. But, the city of Buffalo has been through so much in this past year with, the shooting that happened at Tops, that devastating blizzard, and, that terrible incident with Damar Hamlin. It's really just hard to fathom and understand, everything that's gone on over the past year in Buffalo. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's been tough to kind of think about and be a part of to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, on the day of the blizzard, woke up, and again, it was one of those things where the first blizzard happened probably 2 weeks before that.
And we weren't even there.
Snowstorm, whatever it was.
We got out of town.
Right,
Yeah.
we were at practice, and we didn't come back that night. It was pretty bad, and we came back, and there was 6 to
7 feet.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was wild. Like we've never seen stuff like that before. But luckily, we were able to drive, get back safe. And then 2 weeks later, they're talking about this, and we're like, "There's no way it's gonna happen again." Like I don't know. You kind of.
If it really felt like that was so bad that listen, we've been through that. We got through it. The city was okay. It was fine. There was no way it could be worse.
Right. And then 2 weeks later, boom, just like that. And to kind of go through that, waking up Friday morning and being like, okay, I'm downtown Buffalo right now, living there, building a home towards Eden. And my girlfriend's family lives in Hamburg. And so how we work Christmas is first day, we spend it there, and then we head to Canada and spend it with my family. So I'm like, okay, the snow starts snowing,
Picking up a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to make it to Hamburg, because I have no food. I wasn't planned for this. I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be too bad. So get in the car. It's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and get on the I-90, I believe, and driving, and it's just a whiteout. It's crazy. I'm like, okay, what did I get myself into? I'm driving down the highway, and I can't see exit signs. So I know there's left towards the mall, right towards Orchard Park, and that's the main exit. Can't miss it, right? And I can see posts on both sides, and I'm in the middle of the I-90. I see only 3 or 4 cars on the highway at that time, and I missed my exit.
Oh, dude.
And it was
to make a bad situation worse.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And looking back, I remember talking to you about it, and you're just like, did you have gas? Did you have food? Did you have what did you have?
Yeah, it's all these things that people talk about. Listen, if you're gonna be driving in a time where there's a storm, you gotta be prepared. Blankets, gas, all that stuff. And it's I'm talking to you. I'm like, dude, are you serious?
Right. And I didn't have much gas. I had probably 80 miles to empty. I had no food. My phone, no charger or anything.
Yeah.
Anyways, missed my exit, and at this point I'm like, okay, we're already on the road. Let's make it, right? So get back on, get towards Orchard Park, and I'm driving no faster than 6 miles per hour. I'm cruising. My girlfriend's freaking out.
I know. I'm getting Snapchats from her. She's like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's panicking, and you would think as a passenger, you don't want to panic to make the driver panic.
Yeah.
I'm as calm as possible because I'm like, at some point I'm going to make it. I'm just going to take my time. There's no rush at all.
Yeah.
So I'm following this car. Again, you can't really see them, and you don't want to get too close because it's icy.
Yeah.
Following this car, and then it's gone. You can't see it anymore. At one point, I'm following a car and I'm driving, and they stop in the middle of the highway, and I'm like, "What's going on?" They stop and they wave me through, and then they start following me. So it was kind of like it was just crazy. Where again, I couldn't see much. I ended up making it to my girlfriend's place safe. We were stuck there for 6 days. Didn't get to see my family till I believe the Tuesday on Christmas. That being said, I'm very thankful that I was able to make it safe, because you see the stories, you see everything that went on. Sending my condolences to all those families. It's crazy to think about that could have been me, and looking back, like how stupid I was to even attempt that, right?
100%, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like you don't realize the kind of situation that you're in until like it happens, right? So like, and for me, I was down in the city as well, and where my car was parked after day one, I was like, I'm gonna go just like clean off all the snow on my truck and make sure that like by the end of this thing, like I'm gonna be able to get my car out. And so I was just like, all right, fine, like, I'm gonna clean it off, back my car out, because like it was just covered for like 4 feet with like a snow drift. It was insane. And so as I reverse it, it gets stuck, right? And I'm like, like this is kind of brutal. And I'm like, you know what? Like I'm gonna treat this like really like if I was stuck somewhere, I need to get out, right? So I was like, I've got nothing else to do today, and I'm just like digging at it, trying to get, and I'm like freezing, man. It's so cold, and it wasn't really until that moment where I was like, wow, this is serious. Like this is like I really had no idea until I was literally 30 feet up from my home, but was still stuck and felt so helpless. Right. And that's when like I came in and I was talking to my girl. I was like, man, like this is some serious stuff. Like I'm really worried about the city of Buffalo. And you know what? It was a tragedy. It was almost like it felt like just it shouldn't have happened. Right. Especially around Christmas, a time where it's supposed to be so joyful and being around families.
You're
and stuff.
Also thinking like, why Buffalo, right? Yeah. Like it's like.
The city of good neighbors, man. Like
thing after thing, and you know what? And Buffalo's so strong, and they talk about how, like, they're ready for anything that comes at them, right? Like this is just like a snowstorm that hasn't happened for, I think it was one of the worst ones since like the 90s.
Yeah, 77 or something
even
like that.
Before that. It's kind of crazy. I think it impacted obviously a lot of people. I know a lot of people lost power, didn't have much food and stuff like that. So. Again, I'm just thankful that I made it, and
there's also some. I mean, if you like some positive stories that came out of that storm as well, and you hear people about or stories about people like coming out of their house and just helping out their neighbors and helping people get unstuck, and there was a ton of people who were just really trying to do their best to help anyone that they could, taking people into their homes. And that's kind of the really cool thing about Buffalo, I do feel like, is that the people have always been super genuine, nice, kind-hearted people that are just willing to put others before themselves. And I think that's a really cool thing. And, obviously it was really cool to kind of see not only Buffalo, but, almost it felt like the entire country get behind Damar Hamlin and to really see what happened, with him, but to really see how people just rallied around him, and his message about just sending love into the world, it felt like it really came back and everyone kind of rallied around him and just like sent love to him. And, like it was truly a miracle that he was able to be saved, man. So
yeah, it's really eye-opening to kind of see those situations unfold. And again, it's another thing, huge impact for Buffalo. But like you said, it was bigger than Buffalo. It was the whole world kind of tuning in and showing their support. I know a lot of people gave to his foundation. I remember seeing his foundation before. He was like, I'd love to raise, like, it was either $2,500 or $25,000. And it was tough for him to even do that. Yeah. And then obviously, I think they're at millions to billions of dollars that they raise. And it's really cool to see everybody come behind him and help him out. I wish it didn't have to come like that, you know what I mean? But that being said, I just remember seeing kind of something on Twitter, I believe, that his mom was like, you can buy more than toys, you can buy everybody cars. Like, and it's just it's really cool to see that again, something like this. Unfortunately, again, it was a bad incident, but everybody come together as one, and it just goes to show that we're more than athletes. People treat us just like, okay, we're superheroes. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're invincible. And you see something like that, and I remember watching it live and being like, okay, this is serious. Like, what's going on? He's down still. Like, this is real life.
And I really think that there's this thought about, pro athletes, especially guys in the NFL, the NBA, NHL, that like they're just not human, right? That they don't feel, they don't have emotions. People are more worried about their fantasy teams than anything else. Like, a guy goes down, tears his ACL in the first quarter. It's like, oh man, this guy ruined my fantasy lineup. I'm like, dude, do you know what that just did to this guy's entire life?
Right.
For the next 8 to 12 months, he's going to be going through the absolute ringer, trying to get back to healthy, and you're worried about your fantasy team and your $50 that you put into a pot. Like, what are we really talking about, man?
Right. And you saw that with obviously McDermott. He, as soon as like the coaches came over there, and he said he needs to be at the hospital right away. I don't need to be here playing this game. And it's kind of hard to see. Obviously, I know the NFL, they end up figuring it out, but like it seemed like they wanted the game to keep playing, and for like the teammates and the coaching staff and everybody just be like, no, we're not playing. It was a huge stand, and it just goes to show that like we do have the right people. People do have hearts, and we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, man. It was. I remember just being at home and kind of watching everything, and really just like seeing the emotion on guys like Diggs, Trayvon White, like these guys were really just like tears coming, and it just was like, it sat so deeply into my heart, man. And I remember just like literally tearing up, and I just can't imagine what these guys are going through, and like if that was one especially one of my teammates, and that happened, because like that stuff can happen at almost any sport,
right?
Like and it's truly frightening. But I'm glad that the Bills medical staff was able to react so quickly. Everyone involved in keeping him safe did such a great job, and all the doctors I know in Cincinnati did their very best to make sure to take the right steps, and so I'm truly thankful for that. But yeah, no, it's just been one of those things where it all happens, on national television,
right?
And it's an eye opener for everyone,
right? And I think there's a lot to kind of take away from that. And for me personally, I want to learn CPR, because I know I did back in the day, and I know it's changed a lot, but like if you like that could change somebody's lives. Obviously, it did. And again, like you said, you credited everybody involved in like that situation. Like that's a quick split second that you got to be able to do something to help somebody else out, and it's not I'm sure it's not a hard process to kind of go take a test to figure it out
to get 100%. But even like the one thing that really stood out to me, and like it was just really inspiring to see Damar, in his toughest times, in a time where he really doesn't know where his future lies, right? To be so supportive of his team. He wakes up and the first thing that he asks is, did we win, right? Like I can't imagine. It's absolutely insane to me, man. He's you can tell he's just a genuine guy, and really just wants to send love into the world, and to he's FaceTiming his team, and they're definitely using that as motivation, and they're playing for something bigger right now. But yeah, they just got a big playoff win against Miami. That was, I feel like, one of those trap games. And people really don't realize that, like, yes, like, oh, going into that game, everyone was like, oh, the Bills should crush them. They should absolutely hammer them. Like, well, all this stuff. Like, no Tua, right? They're playing with their backup quarterback, right? But, like, it's so tough to go into those games because that team is given everything that they possibly have, right? And every single guy that's in this league is here for a reason, and they're all super talented, right? Just because they don't have their A1 guy doesn't mean that there's not other guys that are able to step up and do the same. So I really wasn't surprised that the game was that close.
Yeah,
to be
no,
honest.
I mean, I was watching as well, and it was cool to see a close game because, like you said, any team can win at any night. You see that in any sport. Obviously, in our sport, Albany beat us the first game, and they beat Halifax this past weekend as well, and they're a great team. And again, you can't take a night off because teams like this, and especially in playoffs where it's a one-game elimination.
Exactly.
And,
anything can happen, man.
It's scary, but it's cool to see how competitive the league is, and again, it's going to be exciting to kind of see the Bills kind of rally together and play a rematch of Bengals. It's kind of like full circle. It's weird that it's kind of happened this way, and I think a lot of people saw it kind of coming. It was gonna happen this way, but it's kind of weird that, like, again, everything kind of happens for a reason, and
it felt like it was just gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not able to finish the game with everything that went on. It was like you could just feel that, like, they were gonna come back together again, and this as if this game didn't need more hype.
Right.
it's about to be an absolute battle to watch two extremely talented teams go head to head. It's gonna be one for the ages, I think. So I'm super fired up to watch. But we're going to take a break real quick, and we're going to be right back with Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin.
All right, we're back with two guys who are the backbone of the Buffalo Sabres, two of the best offensive defensemen in this generation. One, some say, is the life of the party, and one who's not even old enough to attend a party. Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power. Boys, thanks for joining us. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No, it's funny because I was doing some research, and three of us are first overall picks, but only one of us is the league rating MVP. So I don't know, we must be doing something wrong here, boys. It's definitely tough because what did you go, fifth?
I went fifth. Yeah.
We give them crap all the time because obviously
everybody in Buffalo is first round, second round, third round, and then there's me that's fifth.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's definitely pretty wild. But I know you guys just got in late last night. How are the bodies feeling?
It's all right. Good thing we have a day off today, so we can recover. But we have a busy schedule now this month for sure. But it's a part of it, and it's fun too.
It's definitely got to be a grind, man. Like for us, we only play, I think, like 18 games in a season, and what are you guys, like 82 or something like that? Like I don't know. I can't imagine doing what you guys do. Anything specifically that you guys need to like focus on while you do that stuff, or to try to recover, or?
I don't know. I think for me, the biggest thing is just sleep.
Yeah.
Especially with travel, you get in late so much, is you just got to find ways to get as much sleep as possible. So.
Are you a big napper during like game days?
Yeah. I always go for at least an hour. So.
Yeah.
I think probably majority of the team, if not everyone, always goes down and lays down. So.
Are you superstitious? Like, do you go at a certain time? Like, I know for myself, like I'm like 2 p.m. every time. Like.
Not really. I mean, on the road, I got a roommate, so just whenever he goes,
right.
I'll normally go. But at home, it's kind of whenever I feel like it. Sometimes it's a little later, sometimes it's earlier. So, but no, I always find a way to get napping.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's definitely a must. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we're just kind of getting to know you guys. So, like, tell us about yourself. So, what do you guys like about Buffalo? What are your passions? What's going on?
I'll start. First, what I like about Buffalo, I love the food around here. There's a lot of really good restaurants, and then I love the sports teams too. It's a lot of fun to be in the city. my passions. I would say hockey.
Yeah.
Like I breathe hockey. I know it's the same for you, but I just love being on the rink. I love being with the boys. Hockey is my life.
What's one of your favorite places to go, restaurant-wise, in Buffalo?
My go-to is Bacchus.
Bacchus?
I know the chef there, and he's an unreal guy. So I gotta go with that place. Unreal food.
Yeah.
How about you? You like you're a big food guy too, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to go out to eat that much. So I try and cook a little more. I'm not a great cook, but pretty basic. So I'll go out here and there, but a lot of times it's just fast food. So
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way as you. I'm more of like he kind of chirps me all the time. I'm more the bland guy, like ground turkey, rice, corn, little things like that.
Yeah.
Try to stay in, and he's cooking up all these extravagant meals.
Not at first though. Before quarantine, I was like pasta. I do like chicken breasts and throw like a bunch of cheese on and pretending it's chicken parm. It was so bad, but like that's why. And then like during quarantine, I ended up losing 20 pounds, and I felt way better. But I was just like pasta. I'm a big Alfredo sauce kind of guy, so like it was just the worst food for me. But now I figured out how to cook a little bit better. But I understand where you're coming from for sure. And
So you lost 20 pounds?
20 pounds over quarantine, yeah.
You feel better now than before?
Way better. Like just
really?
like
He was a thick boy.
I didn't, but nobody told me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know. Like I came into the league at 195, and then ended up kind of creeping up to like 203 to 205, like consistently for 8 years. And then quarantine, I just ended up losing 20 pounds, and now I play at like 180 to 185, and I feel way better. I don't get injured as much. Like everything just like
Wow.
it's crazy.
that's wild.
That is wild, yeah.
And I didn't even meet, like it wasn't even like I was
Nah.
intending to do it. It was just like it just kind of happened.
Man,
But-
so like when COVID kind of hit, right? We were living in like an apartment, just kind of like outside of the arena, and we kind of just went crazy. We were like, you know what? Like we need to find a way to work out still. So we went and bought like just like a rack, like a whole weight system, and just put it in like our living room in the apartment. So like every morning, and we couldn't really go anywhere. We would just get up and just work out, and then like kind of start competing with each other because we lived with each other. And it's like, oh, how many calories can you burn? Like kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, before I mean, I'm a big Apple Watch guy, and like I didn't care about calories or anything like that. I'd do my workout, finish it. And as soon as I was finished, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like whatever.
Yeah.
And then during obviously COVID, we like how many calories? Yeah, and like I try to burn as many as possible. And now I'm like, if I don't burn now, it's like 1,000 calories, and then I can leave the gym. It's crazy. It's like it's probably not good for me. 'Cause I probably don't eat as much as I friggin'.
Do you guys track any of that stuff, like calories or anything like that?
Yeah, I do, especially in the summers.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. But during the season, like we lose so many
man.
calories, and we everything you can eat, you eat. I feel like.
No, yeah, I don't keep track of it, but like even in the summer, like I burn so much, I just try and eat whatever I can. And
Right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I have like a super fast metabolism, so like for me, it's easier to lose weight. Like if I don't eat, like I'll just drop weight
For sure.
like crazy. It happens so fast, and yeah, especially with you guys playing so many games, I can only imagine just trying to put every piece of food into your mouth to try to keep the weight on. It's probably
Yeah.
pretty fun. I can
Yeah.
imagine.
I agree.
Question for you, Rasmus. What was it like growing up in Sweden? What do you think are the biggest differences?
The language. No, it's a lot of difference. But growing up in Sweden, it was nice. It's very different from what it is here. The culture, the food. I can't really come up with everything, but it was a big change for me to come here, to learn the language, what comes with the language is like it's hard to show your real personality at first because all you do is answer yes and no to all the questions. So it took me a while to get adjusted to everything what comes with it, but I love it here.
Right.
It's I couldn't imagine a life without Buffalo right now.
Were you like used? Sorry, were you like used to it? Like when you kind of got drafted here, like did you have to like figure it out on your own, or did you have like people to help you? And like, did you like know guys already on the team in Buffalo, like from like Sweden and stuff like that kind of helped you out, or how did that kind of work?
I did know. I played with Victor Olsson before I got here,
Okay.
so that was helpful. We had a lot of Swedes when I got into the league, but I moved in with Casey Middlestad. He was my roommate for 3 years, so he pretty much taught me the language and you know, watching football. And we don't have football back in Sweden, so
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say football because we're Canadian and CFL is what like we grew up watching, which is
Yeah.
brutal.
It's,
Like, it's not even,
it's way
it's not
different.
even football.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say I grew up watching it. Kind of there. But
3 downs. But I did like it because, I mean, I grew up playing a little bit of football, and like I liked it because it was like every down was like a throwing down. Like you weren't running the ball as much, so like that part was kind of cool.
It
but
also
like,
just it doesn't really make any sense to me. Like they just tell the receivers like get like a 10-yard sprint at these guys and let them just like
the
run
end
at the
zone's
DBs.
like 20 yards.
Yeah. They put like the field goal in the middle of the end zone. You gotta like dodge the end zone and try to catch a pass. I'm like, what's going on here?
have you seen a CFL game?
no, I've
before?
never seen him.
Yeah.
Man, you don't want to.
Oh, really? It's bad.
It's bad
yeah.
football, man. Yeah, no, it's I mean, listen, if you're bored and want to waste some time, yeah, go for it. Turn the CFL on. But yeah, no, it's definitely a different brand of football, I would say. It almost is like a farm league for pretty much guys to try to get shots into the NFL.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't. It's very rare that you see guys make the jump from CFL to NFL. So I know, like I told you before, like I went to Hofstra University. And obviously you went to Michigan. What was the thought behind that? Like why Michigan? Obviously it's a massive school and probably a pretty fun school as well. But what was the reasoning behind going to Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a few things. I mean, I always knew I wanted to go to college, so when I was kind of making the decision, I looked at some schools. But for me, just obviously the education there is one of the best in the world, and hockey program as well is always good. So those were 2 huge things. And then just other things, it was close to home. I had known some guys that had been there already and couldn't say anything bad about it. So it was pretty easy for me once I went and saw the campus and the rink and met all the guys to make the decision and end up going there.
Nice. What how did you guys end up like packing the barn out a lot? Like I never really got to watch a Michigan game, but like what was the atmosphere like playing in one of those games?
Yeah, we got, I would say, one of the best rinks in college hockey. So it's not necessarily the biggest, but our student section and the fans we get was awesome. So I think pretty much every game except for games where students are on break, it was pretty much sold out. So it's a lot of fun to play there.
I remember actually, so I grew up playing hockey was my main sport in the winter and lacrosse was the summer, like any Canadian pretty much. But I remember going to a tournament in Michigan. I went to a Michigan Notre Dame hockey game. It was like unbelievable. Like,
Really?
And I grew up in Kitchener, Ontario, so we had the Rangers and like that hockey was unbelievable too. But then you saw these guys and you're just like, wow, these guys are as good if not better, but there's no hitting. And I remember being younger, be like, what the heck? Like it wasn't like guys weren't rocking guys. There was like no fighting, but it was just like it was cool to see like just like the different atmosphere. There was like bands playing.
Yeah, you got the band going the whole game. Yeah.
It was wild.
sweet.
But it was really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean that's different for sure. Because I'm from Vancouver originally, and like the junior system, like the WHL and whatnot. I think it was the Vancouver Giants back in the day. They were always really fun to watch. But like, so I guess kind of going back to like, what was your junior system like growing up in like Sweden? Like, is it the same kind of like format?
Not at all. No, not at all. So I quit school when I was 16 because I was turning pro at that age. So it works like there's one club with start from 10 years old up to senior hockey. So it's like
Wow.
all these steps to under 18, under 20, and then the A team, you call it. So when I was really young, I played for my hometown team, and then you kind of get recruited to one of the best teams around Sweden. So I went to Gothenburg, started playing the under 18, then the under 20, and then to the A team. So yeah, I missed the education.
Yeah, it's okay. You did pretty much the same thing.
You're looking just fine. So I can.
yeah, it turned out good. So
Do they? Because like I know now it's like with everything going on in the college world with like athletes being able to get paid now, especially college athletes with different deals and whatnot. Like, is there like a point where you're allowed to start getting paid, or is it like you can start getting paid like kind of under the table, like 16, 15? Like, are they starting to
No, I remember when you start playing for the A team, if you play more than 100 minutes,
okay,
like total, you start getting this. It's called rookie deal, and I think it's like $1,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
So I felt like the richest.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
I was eating out when all my buddies were going home to get cooked meal by their parents and stuff. So I felt really cool back then. But I think it's a good system for players back in Sweden.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember playing junior lacrosse for a bit and getting called up to the senior A team. And basically, senior A, like, you can get drafted out of there, or it's pretty much pro players play there in the off season. And I was getting like, they're like, okay, like, we can't really pay you, but we'll give you like $100 a game. I'm like, yes, like, I felt like the richest. Like, I was like, what? I was probably 17, 18 years old, but like $100 a game, I was like, this is the best thing in the world. So
getting paid to play.
I
Let's go. I pay for dinner. We go to McDonald's.
Right. And that's funny. Who were your sports idols growing up, both you guys? Owen, I'll ask you first.
I think for me, the biggest guy was probably Crosby.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty big for any Canadian hockey player.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was always someone, especially from when I was really young, that I kind of looked up to and was a big fan of. So I would say he's probably the only one, really.
That's crazy because you play D now.
Yeah, no,
right?
it
So
doesn't
how
really
does
make
that-
sense. So, but
Were you an offensive guy before?
Yeah.
no, I always played D.
Oh,
I mean, but when you're younger, you just
Yeah,
kind
you
of
don't know better,
you
right?
always like the best player. So obviously, as I've got older, I've kind of started to watch other guys and watch more D. But
Right.
Makes sense.
I think
why
when I
you're
was younger.
dangling guys, though,
And this isn't a trick question because, like, you could ask me the same question, but, like, is it weird now playing against Crosby? Like, do you, like, your first ever game against him, was it last year? Would you have played him last year? Or was
No,
it
this year. This year's
was
first game.
Like, was it, like, were you shocked? Like, were you like, wow? Like, or were you just like, now that you're kind of in the league, you can't really do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I skated with him in the summer
Okay.
for a week. So there, I was kind of had that wow. But I think after the first couple of skates, it kind of wears down a bit. I mean, obviously, you're still
Right.
It's pretty crazy to be able to play against him. So,
Right.
But no, for sure the first skate, first 2-3 skates were, I couldn't really believe it. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
That's sweet.
How about you?
My idol,
Yeah.
I would say Peter Forsberg.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he's massive legend back in Sweden.
Yeah.
I would say he's like our Crosby.
Right.
But when I got older, I started looking into these and Erik Karlsson and Nicholas Lidström and all those guys. We have a ton good defensemen from Sweden.
Yeah, you do.
Nice, man. That's awesome. So for us, like when we travel and we go to different spots, we don't really get to travel too much. But like for me, San Diego, we get to go play in San Diego, and it's incredible. Like, a little bit different weather from Buffalo to San Diego, but that's always a super fun place to play for us. I'll ask both of you guys, what's your favorite city to play in? And let's start with you.
And why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can answer that.
Like I would say I have a few because like all the spots have their own things.
Yeah.
So you go to Florida, you just, you sit by the beach and just relax. You go to Vegas, you have a lot of fun. You're playing some casino and stuff. All the big cities are always fun, but I would say my favorite is Florida. You just go there and just sit outside on a patio and then having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played at every rink, but I think the Florida teams in pretty much anywhere warm is kind of nice to go. And like you said, you're just able to sit outside and get some sun. But I just played in Nashville for the first time. This week? And that was a pretty cool spot. So I would say that's probably been my favorite spot.
Yeah.
To play in, and obviously the city there's a lot of fun and got some good food.
Right. So kind of to go off that a little bit, where's the worst place to play? Like, is there like a place?
Like for us, there's a couple places where you're like, oh, I do not want to go.
Whether it be like just there's not that many fans, or just like, I mean, it's just, I don't know, but.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here.
Yeah, that's kind of tough.
I would say any places during COVID, that was awful.
Yeah.
I go with that answer.
No, I can resonate with that, because we were playing in Toronto, and I think last year. Was it last year, the beginning of the season?
Last year, yeah. And
for that, like Canada was still shut down, right?
Yeah.
And like it was just, especially from obviously in Buffalo, we get a ton of fans, and like it's just tough to get yourself into the game.
Yeah,
right.
For
like,
sure.
No fans, no.
Yeah.
And the music, they had like music going, but they also had
weird.
like pretend fans, like
in
like
the
sound
background.
like,
It was
why you guys
brutal.
doing that? Yeah, it's like, what's going on?
Awful.
Yeah.
We ended up losing that game too, and it was
Yeah.
like we were so frustrated with that. But when you travel places, you only get there for what, a day and you're out, or is there some places that sometimes you get to stay there a little longer? Or how's that work?
Yeah. Usually we go there the night before and then we play and then we go back. But
Right.
if we're on a road trip, we might stay overnight and have a day off or something. It depends, but I think they try to squeeze in some nice days off for us too.
That's nice. So this is for you, Owen. We know you were a really good lacrosse player. Some say better than me. When did you start playing lacrosse?
I don't even know. I was really young.
Yeah.
So I can't even remember the first time I picked up a stick. But all my cousins and my oldest sister were playing. I think as like a mite team. So I've seen pictures where I guess I joined that team and was playing with them when I was really young. But I have no idea. Probably 3, 4.
Before hockey?
It might honestly been before hockey. I definitely like organized like playing in games before hockey, but I grew up with a rink in my backyard, so I think I might have been on the ice before, like
Right.
but no, I definitely started playing lacrosse first.
Yeah, no, I started playing when I was 3 years old, lacrosse, and I played hockey when I was 5 years old. So it was like a little bit different, but I think I'm like trying to think like how could I have started lacrosse when I was 3 years old? Like how could I barely like walk? Like
Dude,
what's going on?
when I was the same way. I was playing, or no, so I was 3, but I wanted to play hockey, and my mom was like, no, like you're not doing that. She's like, no chance, it's way too rough, like all this stuff, and ended up playing lacrosse. And I got just like destroyed one day in the game, and she was like, "What's going on?" Like so confused. But then I ended up playing hockey as well until I was about 16, and then obviously had to make the switch and just started to, it's kind of a tough decision. But no, it was obviously. So we were looking up, and you played for Team Ontario.
Yeah.
Right. Won a couple championships.
Yeah.
Must be nice. Eh?
How many years did you play at Team Ontario?
3 years it was.
3 years.
So I think it was second year Pee Wee and then 2 years Bantam.
Okay.
I played, and then I think they got midget teams too, but I didn't try out for those teams.
Right. I played. My brother played Team Ontario when he was Pee Wee, and then I tried out for I think the Bantam team my first year. I ended up getting cut, and I remember being like so stubborn, being like, I'm never trying out for this Team Ontario. It's all politics, all this stuff. I ended up getting asked to play my midget year, and I told them no, I'm not going to do it. And then junior came around when I was 16. I got asked to play for Team Ontario Field Lacrosse, and I was like, oh, I'll try it. And I ended up making it. I played 3 years after that, and I won 3 times too. So at that time it wasn't politics. It wasn't politics at that time.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just funny how it works.
I just hate hearing this, like, oh, we played Team Ontario, we won 3 years in a row. Like, I played for Team BC, we never won a game. Against Team Ontario. It was always pretty much us in Ontario.
So Team Ontario is like the big thing?
Yeah, it's like basically Team Canada, what you could play like when you're a minor. Because we split up the places, right? So that's how I'd compare it. Were you an offensive or defensive player?
I was offensive.
Offensive player? I guess in the minor, you're kind of...
you play both, I think, until midget is when you start playing offense, defense. Right. So, but I actually think when I was playing for Team Ontario, I was playing defense. So, defense.
No way.
So I was a...
You're a bruiser, eh?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that, but I definitely wasn't a top guy on the team. So, just kind of...
So you would have had to made it as an underager too, then?
Yeah.
So you were pretty good then.
I guess. I actually played with Dylan Robinson.
Okay.
He's playing with you guys now. So
No way.
I think he was on all 3 of those teams with me, and then.
Yeah, and I heard he's a pretty good hockey player.
Yeah, I grew up playing against him in hockey. So.
No way.
But yeah, he was a good hockey player too.
Yeah, he said he had 2 hip surgeries, and all his brothers had hip surgeries and stuff like that. But I was like, why didn't you go that route? But he said, he had surgery. So
yeah, so you played hockey and lacrosse growing up. At what point were you like, okay, I'm just gonna go hockey full time?
I went to Chicago to play junior hockey, and I actually still wanted to play lacrosse, but by the time I got home and from Chicago, I think the junior A season's already pretty much halfway through, so that's kind of when I had to give it up, and I wish I was still able to play, but obviously wasn't able to. Probably smart, because it gets a bit rough. The slashes on the wrist and stuff get a bit too much, so probably got a
I'm sure we
few
could
injuries.
call you up for a game or 2 if you have some free time. We'll have to get you out to practice for sure.
Yeah. So I think you came to a game. I don't think you ended up making it to a Bandits game, did you?
No,
So we'll have to definitely get you out there.
Yeah, I want to. I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy atmosphere. What did you think about your first Bandits game?
Yeah, I mean, I love all watching on lacrosse. So even in the summers, I'll still watch some junior A games, and I got buddies playing, so I'll go out and watch. But even growing up with the Rock, I would go watch all the time. So, but here it's such a better atmosphere than in Toronto. It's great crowd, and obviously love the music playing the whole time and all the goals. So it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys like play with the music on? Does that make you have swagger? Or why?
Honestly, I like tone it out. Like, are you like? For me, I'm like so focused on the game, and I don't even know. It's bad. I don't notice too much what's going on in the crowd or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't hear the music unless, like, of course, we score or I score or something like that. I'm like, okay, like, here we go. Like, you want to score because you want to hear your goal song and stuff like that. But I remember when I first came to the league, I had terrible eyes. And so I probably shouldn't tell this story, but when I first came to the league, I couldn't see out of my eyes really, like, well, I couldn't really see the scoreboard sometimes. So, like, you have to get contacts. So I was like, okay, like, I'll get contacts, and then my doctor back home's like, okay, you got to put them in your eyes before like you can play. And I was like, oh, I'll get my team doctor to do it. And so when my team doctor asked me if I could put them in my eyes, I was like, yeah, they're in there, but they weren't in there. And every year we had physicals, I'd wear my glasses and I'd be like, oh, I left my contacts at home. And so I'd pass every time, obviously. And I ended up having a couple good years because the goalies are probably looking at my eyes, and I'm like shooting, don't even know where I'm shooting. But it was at that time I was like, okay, I can't look into the crowd because I'm like squinting, and people are gonna be like, what's this guy looking at? So ever since that, I never looked in the crowd or anything like that. So,
really?
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
but it's definitely a different feel. Like when there's just music playing at all times. Part of it, it's like there's some arenas that we go and play in. Like Colorado's one where they blare it, man. So like if you're trying to communicate on
Oh,
defense
that's not-
or like anything like that, like guys are just getting blown up by picks because like pick coming, and like they're just getting hammered, man. So it's different for me personally. I'm a big music guy. Like I listen to music no matter what I do. So like for me, I think it kind of helps me like relax a little bit and like calm down and settle into the game. Especially if I'm feeling a certain song or whatnot. But how do you think you guys would feel about if there's music playing in your games?
I think I would like it.
Yeah, I would love it, I think.
Yeah.
I don't see why they don't do it, because how often do you guys communicate? I guess you communicate quite a bit on the ice, but like
It's just the old school feel though, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's definitely like a hockey feel when like you can hear everyone skating. And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
that's
feel
true.
like that.
you know what I mean? Like that's like it's
Yeah,
like a raw.
especially watching too. It's like you get that echo of the puck hitting.
Yeah.
right. I remember.
It's
remember
crisp
doing
too.
so, yeah.
man,
growing
like-
up and freaking wanting T-blades. Remember those? The T-blades.
No, I.
The
T-blades.
T-blades.
Man, you might be showing your age
Oh
here a
my
little bit because I don't
goodness.
even know what
You know
T-blades are.
those blades that like made crazy sounds in the ice?
The
No?
really, really thin ones?
I don't even know.
T-blades,
T-blades they were called.
They're
I
making
thought
sound.
somebody
I
would
have
know.
no
I guess
idea.
not. You guys have to go look those up. I guess I'm showing my age, but they were like these things that like every kid wanted, and like every like edge you could do, like you could hear it like
Yeah,
it was, like,
yeah.
even if you were a bad skater, you could hear it. It was awesome.
Yeah, you felt like you were fast.
Yeah, it felt like you're the best. Yeah.
It's got to be good music though, because it
Yeah.
can't be any. I'm not a big country guy, so
Yeah.
it's got to be like some hip hop or something. Otherwise, I can be without it.
You got the worst music.
I like country on the golf course though. You like listen.
That
to
is very
You
true.
listen to
That
hip
is
hop
very.
on the. If I listen to hip hop on the golf course, I'm like
Oh,
swinging
I'm
for the fences. Like I'm
That
like
is
gripping
very
my
true.
clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys
Yeah.
both golf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So we'll have to get on the course a little bit. Who's the better golfer between you two?
I don't think we play together, but
No.
I from what I've heard, I think you're the.
What's
better
your
player.
handicap?
It's like 12, 15 probably. Like I'm not very good. I should be a lot better than I
Me
am.
and you
but-
should ride together then. 'Cause I'm
I'm
the
not.
same
I'm
way.
like.
No,
on my
you're
best
good.
days, I'm a 9, but I'm like probably an honest 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Probably. It depends. Like beginning of the season, no good, and then by the end of the season, but it's also tough.
I
Like,
don't know
we're-
if I trust
we're-
your handicap. this guy, this so like if he's a sandbagger.
Oh, really?
Like
No, I'm not.
as soon as you like you're like, oh, you want to bet on this hole, and all of a sudden he's birdieing the hole, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm not doing this anymore.
I'm like, but like we're lacrosse players, so we're like getting slashed and like whatever, we're playing summer ball, and like I'm taping my wrist before the round because I can't keep them straight because they're like I'm so sore. So it's like golf's hard in the summer for us because we're just like all year round we're playing.
Yeah, which is a little bit different. Like so, for you guys, your season goes. How many months do you guys normally play for?
8.
8 months.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I think we have 8-month contracts.
Yeah, okay. So that's kind of similar for us. But like, so we play for the Bandits from like, let's say, when we start?
November.
November, and then it goes, like if you go into the playoffs, it goes till like June, let's say, June 1st. And then we play in another league in the summer, which is like a field lacrosse league. So it's a little bit different than the Bandits. And then we play from there June 1 till like September 15th if you make the championship.
Oh, really?
So from September 15th to November, you got like 6 weeks for an off season to try to get your body right. So exactly what he's saying, like we pretty much go year round, and it's just like, man, you try to do anything else besides lacrosse, and you're just like, you feel like you're 75 years old.
You get hit in the
Yeah.
rib the one game, and you're just like, oh no, I can't golf this week. Like that's like the first thing that comes to mind. Like, but we'll kind of get back into this. Like, what's your favorite hockey moment thus far? For both of you guys, I'll ask Owen first.
I don't know. I mean, first game's pretty cool.
Right.
What are
So-
those feelings like? Like,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I played in Toronto too, my first game, so
wow.
That's really cool.
I had a ton of family, and
He had a whole section.
yeah.
It's like 500 people.
it was pretty crazy. But so that was really cool to kind of be able to go and play first game back home. But you obviously get the solo lap too, and we're up. So
Yeah.
it's something you dream of, I think, and
Right.
couldn't have been any better being in Toronto.
Did you win the World Juniors?
No, I didn't World Juniors, but that was the other thing. I won World Championships.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah. I mean, your first NHL games, that's probably the best. I don't blame you. How about you?
Yeah. I would say getting drafted was awesome. But then your first goal, first game, I kind of appreciate like the outdoor game we had.
Yeah.
That was cool. I haven't. I don't know. There's a lot of them.
It's tough, man, for sure. It's cool because like we had Pat Collette on our last podcast, and he was talking about his first game, and we didn't know this, but his first game, and I don't know if you guys remember this, is the Ray Emery brawl that happened with like Marty Byrne.
Oh yeah, I think I know. I think you told me about it.
Yeah, with, like, against Ottawa, and like he was like, man, like I'm playing in my hometown, same kind of thing as you. But next thing I know, I'm getting tapped on the shoulder, being like, hey, go take care of that guy. And the next thing you know, he's in the middle of a line brawl in his first ever game. I'm like, man, that's absolutely insane. I honestly can't imagine that. So this is kind of an interesting one because, if you asked him what the best part of my game is and vice versa, he might say something a little bit different, especially my teammates. But what do you think the best part of your hockey game is, and would your teammates agree? And we'll start with you, Rasmus.
What my best part is?
Yeah.
And would your teammates agree? So you gotta kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough question.
I would say. Would you agree with hockey sense?
Yeah, I mean.
You're pretty good at everything. I don't have a good shot. I don't know. Yeah, I would say the hockey sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think you could basically say anything and guys would agree with the skating shot.
That's a good rookie answer. I like it.
But yeah.
How about you?
For me, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He hasn't done anything wrong since he got into the league. It's kind of cool to watch, actually.
He's never getting caught out on film. Coach being like, "What are you doing?"
No, it's always Owen Power highlights in the morning meetings.
Well, I mean, that happened to me the other day. It was like I did something wrong. I don't know. And there's nothing worse than being in film and you see a play that you remember. You're like, I might catch some grief for this play, and all of a sudden he pulls it up, and you're like, what are you doing? Well, I'm like,
I know. And sometimes
never fun.
When you get called out and you're just like, you think I wanted to do that? Like, no, I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to let them score. Or I didn't, like, it's like, I understand. Like, and like you said, there's nothing worse than knowing that you're kind of going to get screamed at, or whatever it may be. And you're just like, okay, like, we're adults. Like, I understand that I made a mistake. You don't need to tell me like 7 times.
Super obvious stuff.
Right.
Like, oh, thanks for letting me know.
So you're telling me I shouldn't have passed to that guy in my own end and he scored? I shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, right.
And turn it over right in front of my own net? I know. Thank you, man. But, that's it's frustrating, man. But if you guys weren't playing hockey, right, what would be your dream job besides hockey?
I mean, something in sports. I mean, I could say lacrosse, but I think being a pro golfer would be pretty cool. So those guys go around playing the nicest course in the world and the nicest place in the world. So
I feel like there's a lot of pressure though. Like, I totally agree with you, but like individual sports freak me out because it's like all on you kind of thing, where like we can kind of get away with like having an off day and your team still like wins, you know what I mean? Like
you can't hide.
Like I know, like I don't know. For me, like when my golf game, like if I can get off the tee, I'll play well. Like if my driver's on, I'm okay. But then I have those shakes like around the green when it's like you're betting your buddy is $50. You're trying to hit this putt, and it's like you want him to give it to you because it's within the giving length, but he won't give it to you and you miss it. It's like
Which I can't imagine, man. Like, I'm such a mental midget when it comes to actually, like, playing golf. So if I was playing, like, in an actual league and professionally, I'd be like, wow. But I think you're dead on. I think that's like what the
dream.
The dream
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be.
How about you?
It's the same thing. I don't know if I could do anything outside sports.
Right.
I'm trying to find something outside sports. I would probably be like a construction worker. You know, that was my dad with me when I was growing up. So
Okay.
I'd probably follow him.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with him at all?
What's up?
Did you ever work with him? Like when you were
Yeah, I
younger?
did some. You know, when you take breaks from school to go visit your dad's work, whatever. So.
Yeah. So you're handy. You're a handy man.
I can't say I'm handy. I know what's going on. Yeah.
Right. That's key in life. Like, I don't know. This guy doesn't even know what a screwdriver is. So.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough out here, man. I'm the guy that's like, oh, like my toilet's broken. Like I'm calling maintenance.
Oh yeah.
Get it together, man.
And I'm calling him to call maintenance. So I'm not better. I'm chirping
You don't
him,
want to
but
be
I'm
that
no
guy.
better.
Yeah.
What's the number for the maintenance guy? Like, what's your go-to shootout move?
And you don't have to tell if you know. It's
No, I
it's a
mean,
secret.
I don't think I would take a shoot at any game. So.
Yours is 5-hole, right?
Yeah, I always. I mean, that's pretty much the only way
It's
I
a
score
good
is
spot,
5 holes.
no.
So. But-
Do you have?
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
how many have you been in?
I've been in 2, I think.
Okay.
I missed 1, scored 1.
Okay.
Slap shot 5-hole.
Yeah.
So tell me this though. So shootouts are coming. Are you like, come on, coach, like give me like the nod? Or are you like depending on how you're playing, or like how's it work?
If I was feeling it during the overtime,
Yeah.
I could probably
Wait.
say that. But if it's an off night, I would not
Yeah.
wanna
Put me
go
in
out
there.
there.
Are you a kid? Like we coach kids, and like sometimes we'll do random shootouts, and they'll be like, coach, is it, like am I in? Are you like the same idea? Like are you looking over your shoulder like?
No,
"Please
I
put me
was
in?"
more when I was younger.
Yeah.
But now it's the goalies are so good. And
Right.
we play these games when we go on the road. Like the last guy who scores has to buy Tim Hortons for the team, like coffees and
that's
stuff.
pressure.
And I'm one of the last 5
They're-
every time.
Those are different than actual shootouts.
Yeah.
So, like everyone's just skating out as fast as you can, and then
Yeah.
goalies kind of, I think, give guys some
Little
freebies.
leeway.
and-
Craig
Yeah.
Craig Anderson, he picks who he wants to lose.
Yeah.
So like
That's messed up.
he picked me the other day, and like all the guys just came in and shot 5-hole. He was just standing there.
Oh.
But as soon as I came in, he like
Yeah.
tried. So yeah,
That's good.
it's not the same thing, but
No, that's definitely different. I mean, like, so I've had to take. We don't have shootouts for lacrosse, but we have penalty shots. Same kind of idea. And like, man, there's nothing scarier than stepping up and being like, okay, like, just make sure you hang on to the ball here. Like, you don't want to be that guy that like comes in and just like loses the puck or like.
Well, it's more scooping it, just
Yeah.
like right off the
Well,
hop.
it's brutal because for us, like they make you start with the ball on the ground, and then you have to like scoop through it, and then
No way.
and then run it, and then run and like shoot. So it's like you're sitting there like, okay, man, don't be that guy who just misses a scooped up ball.
But it's tough for you guys as well because it's like they like obviously just do the ice, so like it could be sticky, it could like be
It could grab
I
like the
don't know.
water or whatever. Sometimes I
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
enjoy that.
you
either.
remember when Marchand just missed
Yeah,
the puck?
no.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm
even with that,
saying,
they
skate
do
right
the
over it.
ice, but it's
Yeah.
still like they don't put water down, so it's still all choppy. It's
Oh,
just no
okay.
snow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you see quite a few guys either the puck hops up on them or they'll lose it.
You guys see the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those shootouts or penalty shots,
It's
whatever you call it.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's nerves.
So much pressure.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh
right.
my god.
It's for your country, obviously, and like I don't understand it because they're so good and the nets are so big. But that being said, like the goalies are good. It's like a head game. Like, and I'm like, well, you're worse than I am. Like, you're like, okay, what are you thinking? Like, we do sprints in the gym, and you got to do like rock paper scissors. Winner goes right, and loser goes left, whatever it may be.
So you try to get in another person's head.
And like he overthinks everything, so it's like you're just standing there and you're just waiting
like,
for him to do it.
oh,
And
like-
he's like thinking the logistics of losing and winning, and I don't even know. Like I'm like, what's going on?
But that World Cup was crazy. I think the cool part about that though is that like, what was it? I think they just kept going back to Messi,
Yeah.
and wasn't it?
No, well,
What
If in a game, like in a game, you can do that, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if there's a red card in the
But
box,
no,
but
it was
in a
Mbappe. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, who was able to like just like pretty much put his team on his back.
Yeah.
In that last.
Yeah,
but
it
in the
was
the
crazy.
final like shootout type thing, it's like you pick players or whatever, and then there's really big pressure on you
Yeah.
there.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, like 900 billion people
I
watching.
know. I know, it's crazy. What's something that separates elite players from like good players or whatever, like in the NHL? Like, what do you think are like, what's the big differences? Like,
I don't know.
I would say consistency.
Yeah.
It's so funny I say it because we had a meeting about it yesterday. But to stay consistent and be reliable every game.
I think that's a really good answer, and I would never think that's something you would answer because, again, you guys play so many games, and to be consistent that many games, like it's got to be hard. I'm sure there's some nights that you're just like, I need a break, like I want to take a night off, but you can't, right?
No,
you can't take a shift off. You can't do anything like that.
I think that's the other thing too, is just being able to play good when you're feeling terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Your low level has to be high.
Yeah.
And there's, it's funny you say that. There's one player on our team, I won't mention who that is, but he's just like, he's the type of player that he's like, honestly, you don't need to be the worst player. You don't need to be the best player. You just got to stay like in the middle and like, you just do your job kind of thing. And like, you'll never really get cut from a team. You'll never be like a superstar, but you'll just always stay maintained. And I'm like, why are you thinking like that? Like, why wouldn't you want to be the best player and like get paid more or whatever it may be? Like, what do you, but he's been in the league for a long time, and I'm like, good for you.
He just kind of stays under the radar. He's kind of an interesting dude as it is. But so yeah, walk us through like just like a day in the life, like on like a game day. What's like your routine like? How does that all look?
I want to hear your routines.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really got.
Are you a routine guy?
No, like I just kind of.
He just comes to the ring. Oh, it's all right.
No,
I feel like, but that's what I'm interested.
I used to like kind of be pretty dialed in on do the same thing all the time and all that stuff, but kind of the last couple of years I've kind of realized that for me it doesn't do anything and just gets in your head. So
Right.
I mean we morning skate, so I'll get up, have breakfast, go skate, then come back and eat lunch, and then normally go down for a nap for a little bit, and then I'll wake up and I'll usually read right as I kind of wake up, just get the brain going, and then get changed, go to the rink, and just wait till warm-ups pretty much, and then get on the ice and go play.
Are you a morning guy? Like, do you like mornings or?
I wouldn't say I like mornings, but like
I figure it out.
I'm like someone who, once I'm up, I'm kind of up. Like I'm normally in a pretty good mood.
Right.
I'm not kind of miserable like some
I feel
other
like
guys.
you're a really happy-go-lucky guy. Like, what makes you mad?
Is there anything?
There's gotta be something.
I don't know. I mean, there's not too much.
Not
really.
too much, yeah. There's not much. I'm the same way. There's not much that makes me mad. There's like, again, like if somebody picks on my brother, like if we used to play juniors together, like that would make me mad. But like again, like
You're very even keel. Yeah.
very even keel. It's hard for me to show emotions. I mean, if a ref makes a bad call, I'll be in his ear. But like I'm a pretty happy guy personally.
Then I guess what's like your mindset going into a game? Like for me, recently it's been like trying to figure out that happy medium, kind of like what you said. Like sometimes like when you're just so focused on like, you know, I have to do good or I have to whatever it is, like you're so focused on that routine, it's like it's tough to just get into like that flow state. So like what's like your mindset going into games?
I'm a big visualizer.
Word.
So I try to visualize, you know, my habits, the stuff that needs to be done during the game, which put my mind into the right place, I feel like. So I'm kind of where Owen is with try to stay loose and not be too caught up in routines and stuff. But yeah, I like to visualize.
Yeah, I find it's so hard, and like it's cool hearing you guys like that, because I want to be like that. I'm very like routine. Like, again, I told you, like, I napped at 2:00 like for the past like whatever, and now I'm trying to, like, if I feel tired, okay, I'll nap. Like, I don't need to nap necessarily, or these little things. Like, I feel like, again, like for me, playing for Buffalo, I feel like there's so many expectations. Like, it's such a great city to play for, and the fans are great, obviously, and they want you to win and all this stuff. So I feel like I need to perform to the best of my ability. I put extra pressure on myself, and I don't want to, but like, that's just how it is. And I wish I was more like relaxed, like you guys, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. When it's so much easier to stay loose and don't care as much, but you care.
Yeah.
When you're playing good, but when I'm
Yeah.
in a bad
Yeah.
period, I'm like, oh, how can I make me better? And then I go to sleep same time, and then eat the same thing, and I
Right.
put same suit on or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you play good, like oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
It's crazy how that works, right? You can kind of
Yeah.
go back and forth. But it's funny, I don't really want to expose you here too much, but like, so there's obviously some guys have like just like rituals that are just like weird, right? Like for instance, Daner, he
Go ahead.
like he sleeps with a stick. So like he'll like get into bed, we'll be on the road, we're roommates, and he'll just like tuck his stick in, put the covers over.
I'm a big believer, if you treat your stick with respect, it'll treat you well. And
Oh yeah.
again, it doesn't. I've been struggling this year. We have 5 games. I got 5 goals, and people have like gummed me a bit about it. But like, again, like I
Is
don't know.
5 goals in 5 games bad?
So well, see, this is where it's like it's tough, right? Because like he's such a very talented player.
Yeah.
That people key on him, right?
Yeah.
So like defenses will be like, hey, we're just not gonna let him score. We're gonna make him a passer.
Yeah.
And he's saying he's struggling, but you're top in the league in points. He leads the league in points because he's able to assist so much.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't say 5 goals in 5 games is bad. It's just they're taking away his like shooting opportunities and stuff and making him into a feeder.
Yeah. that
You know what I'm
makes sense.
saying? But like
Yeah.
there's some guys that are like have a lot more than 5 goals.
Yeah, like what's the points per game, like the leader in the league? It's like something crazy, isn't it? Like 4 or 5 or something?
Oh really? I had no idea.
right now or in general.
Just in like normally, like isn't it?
What's your top? What's your
So I have the points record from actually last year or
Last year.
2016.
Last year's your points. This guy's a G. I
But,
hate to pump his
I don't
tires,
know
but-
what it is. I had like I think 135 points in 18 games.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
So I think it's. I think.
What?
I think
Dude,
it's.
it's wild.
I thought it was a point per game.
No,
So
no,
I had
no,
no
no.
clue.
No, so
But-
like that's you're averaging 7.5 points a game.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I think.
But like, okay, you
Yeah.
gotta think of it this way.
There's
though.
also so
You gotta
many
think of it
goals.
this
So.
way. There's so many goals. There's offense, defense, right? So like, defense, we'll play defense, and then they'll change, and the offense goes out there.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have 6 to 7 offensive guys.
So we're playing
So we're
every
playing like
offensive
almost
shift.
every shift, and like you're touching the ball, like, and there's like 2 assists. Well, I guess like hockey, right? There's 2 assists.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, though. And so you're touching the ball a lot, like, kind of thing. And I don't know. It's just like lucky too. I don't know. You just
Yeah.
gotta. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's a different kind of beast, man.
So you guys never have to back check or work
Oh,
hard.
so this is where it gets tough, right? Because and especially in the last couple of years, our coach has been like just like really hard on like we call it reverse transition, because like it's the easiest way to score is like on like a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 breakaway, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of offenses in the league, right? There's a lot of guys who are just like out of shape.
We're
just,
we're
like-
lazy. We want to score goals,
Yeah,
right? We
and
don't-
so like if you turn the ball over, they just like jog to the bench, and then like guys are sprinting past you and trying to get breakaways. So like for us, that's been a big thing for us is like sprinting back, trying to take away transition and whatnot. Playing defense if you have to, but for the most part, you're taking away the transition opportunity and then getting off and letting the defense come.
In my first 3 years in the league, I had to play defense. I got drafted as an offensive guy, and then I had to play defense. And again, I told Coletta this. My coach told me, he's like, if you don't play well on defense, you're not going to the offensive door. Because I was 19 years old. I assumed, like if I suck on D, they got to play me on offense. But he was like, yeah, you're going to be in the press box. And I'm like, oh crap. So I'm glad I learned that way. Now, like, the coaches have a lot of expectations for myself and him, especially, like, that when we do get back on defense, like, we can't be liabilities. We have to, like, actually bear down and play defense. Like, if we get beat, we're getting yelled at, like a normal D guy. So, like, there's some offensive guys, once they cut off transition, they're like, okay, my job's done. Like, if I get beat, whatever. Like, they don't expect me to play defense, like, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's like the same thing, right? So, like, if you're on offense and you see one of the other team's offensive players on defense, you're like, oh, we got to take advantage of this guy.
Like, so
you call
so
pigeon, bunny, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, let's get this guy one-on-one, take him to the rack. So people try to pick on you too.
Right. My first 3 years, I think, like, I feel like I got scored on so many times, but, like, they're also big picking on me, obviously. Like, I knew I wasn't, like, supposed to be back there. So, like, I'm good. But then I was, like, the guy that, like, as soon as there's a shotgun, I'm, like, up the floor trying to get a breakaway. Like, it was so bad. But
cherry picking.
Yeah. For the both of you, do you dress yourselves or do you have someone help you choose your outfits?
I normally just do my own. I mean, I got like 4 different shirts, a couple different suits, and
yeah,
keep it simple.
Normally don't wear a tie, so it's normally pretty basic, pretty simple. But I don't know. You're a bit more into the fashion than I am. So.
No, but I dress myself too. I like clothes and stuff, but I don't know.
We're both the same. Like like I love clothes. Like I'm bad for shopping for shoes, hats.
Sometimes like for us, like we're it's not like obviously like the NBA or anything like that. It's kind of similar to you guys. Like we have to come in suits. So like sometimes it's like we find ourselves spending more time on like actually trying to like find a cool suit or like a good pair of shoes or something to go with it. So
it was bad at one point, and like I probably have 15 to 16 suits, and it was bad at one point. Like I'm superstitious. We were winning playoff games, and every playoff game I'd be like, I need a new suit. So I'd buy a new suit, like kind of thing. Like I mean, I like it. Like that's one thing. Like I feel good. I feel like I'm gonna play good, kind of thing. And like I like dressing up. I like being different. Expressing like myself with like my suits, like different colors, all that stuff. So it's similar to you. Like I know you have a lot of different suits that I see. I'm like, oh wow, like I like that. Like I want to do that kind of thing. So.
So last kind of I guess serious question before we get into a bit of a rapid fire. So I mean obviously like this generation, this era, you know, playing and having to grow up in like a social media era. What's it like to have to, you know, block out the noise, especially being like high profile athletes, just to really just like stay focused on yourselves and to not worry about what anybody else is saying? What's that like?
Yeah, that's been a huge part of my career, the noise and the social media and stuff.
Yeah.
When I was 16, I had the year before the draft, I had a lot of success back in Sweden, and I was all over media, and I got this hype from nowhere. So I got very exposed into the media world right away, and I loved it. You know, the attention when you're 17 and stuff, and then you know, couple of a bad year came, and it turned, and I was still looking at it. It was challenging, but I'm very happy I went through it because that made me such a stronger person, and you need downs to get up again, and it was challenging for sure.
Yeah, no, I feel like, and we deal with it obviously on a lesser level of you guys, but even the things that we have to deal with, like it's tough, man. Like you've got people just judging you on every moment that you have, whether that's on the floor, on the ice. It can be tough on your mind just to really try to kind of focus on what's important. And I know, like for me this year, I've taken a bit of a different kind of mindset with everything. And you know, it's easy. Like you score a couple goals, whatever, big point night, whatever it is, and you see everyone pumping your tires on social media. You're like, yeah, this is nice, right? But like for me this year, I'm like, I'm not even gonna look at it. I'm not gonna look at it when I'm good. I'm not gonna look at it when I'm bad. I'm just gonna try to block it out as best as I can. And I know for you guys, it's probably even that much more difficult. So I was kind of interested to get your takes on that.
But it's hard not to look at it because like you're on your phone like a lot, right? Like no matter, even if you're trying to avoid it, it's just like coming up, right? So like I don't know. Like,
it's tough because like you almost gotta like pick and choose who you follow almost.
That
But that's like, how do you not follow like SportsCenter or something
right.
for you guys anyways? But
yeah,
For sure. Yeah. Sometimes you go in periods where I don't have Twitter.
Yep.
That's where all the crap is. I feel
it's
like.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. I have
keyboard
Twitter.
warriors.
I
man.
like
Yeah.
looking at it, but like again, like when it comes up to you and it's like whatever, like obviously us losing the finals last year, that was a huge thing, and I'm like, I'm already like angry at myself for not playing, like performing to my best of my ability or whatever it may be, and then you have these people, and I'm like, why don't I like delete these like these apps?
Yeah.
Like, but it's just
It's like you're following them and they're the ones chirping. Or half the time it's not even
sometimes
like
they
you're
just
following.
pop. They
I don't know
find a
how.
way on your like
Like,
social media,
they
and it's
tag
like
you. That's what
or
it
whatever.
is.
Yeah, whatever it may be. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's like I already know. Like, I don't need to hear it from you guys, and it's just like ongoing. Like, and it is tough. And like again, like he said, like you guys probably get it worse than we do because you guys are at a different level than us. But it's like, are you on your phone a lot? Like,
No, actually, I've tried to. I deleted Twitter, I think, last year, and I actually just deleted TikTok a couple days ago.
Okay.
Which
Really?
that's a bad one.
Were you a
How's
big
that
TikTok?
going?
It's
'Cause-
good, actually. I've been good without it. But like even Instagram, like I'm trying to go on as low as possible.
Right. You guys are
for-
so busy though too.
Yeah, for those same reasons, and I just think like there's so much garbage on it.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
That you don't really need to worry about. But
And it is it's some random person that like again hiding behind their phone that like doesn't even know anything about anything, but you still take it in, and it's like it's hard. It's like why am I listening to this person? Like you've probably never even seen a game, or you came to your first game, and like I don't know. It's like
Yeah, or they've never worked hard in their entire life and they're just
right.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've seen a few of my buddies that they send like DMs.
Yeah.
Like horrible stuff, like stuff you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And this guy answers like, "Holy, relax."
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a quick response, and then he just flips. "Oh, you're my biggest idol.
Yeah.
I love you."
Yeah.
It's like
No,
it's the same thing with everyone. It's like
Right.
they have a bad day or whatever, and they go right about. So it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's just
Man, you're 100% right. Like it's so crazy because they'll say all that stuff, right? And then if they were to actually come and meet you in person, they'll be, "Oh, hey man,
Yeah,
like, how
exactly.
can you sign this or can you do that?" It's like, man, just how about you just keep it to yourself, and don't worry about it.
And sometimes I'm on Twitter, and I might delete it now that you guys are saying it.
Yeah.
But like I don't know.
I
But
agree.
I like whenever I get chirped on Twitter or whatever it may be, I like to like it just to be like, yeah, like I agree with you, like kind of thing, to see like if their reactions like the same and stuff
You're
like
playing
that.
head games.
Yeah,
with the
just
guy.
trying to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit, but I don't know if it works. 'Cause I get chirped anyways. But.
Yeah. All right, so coming up to the segment, we call it the hot seat. All right, it's pretty much this or that. There's one question on here. It's just so that we kind of have some clarity with it. So I'll just throw you guys into the fire. It's all good. So the first one is bag of milk or carton of milk, and this is one that like I don't. Do you know what a bag of milk is?
I have no idea. What
Yeah, so and that's okay because I think it's a Canadian thing,
Yeah,
anyways. So bag of milk is pretty much like you ever had like a bag of wine? It's pretty much just like milk in a bag.
It's milk in a bag.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
milk in a
okay.
bag,
Yeah.
but
Like a paper.
No, it's
No,
plastic.
It's like
Like you put it in like a carton,
a carton, yeah.
and then you cut like the bag and you pour it out. Like it's
Alright.
like liter bags. What is it, liter? I think.
Yeah.
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 But
How often do you have to explain that to people? A lot or no?
yeah, quite a bit. Even some Canadians don't know what it is.
Really?
I think it's an Eastern thing, Max. I didn't really have
Yeah,
a
'cause-
lot in West Coast.
Yeah, one of my good buddies is from BC, and he had, when we were talking about it, he had no idea.
Yeah.
And Rasmus, have you ever heard somebody call somebody a milk bag?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's where
that's
it,
kinda
I think
where
it
it
comes
comes
from.
from. Yeah, okay.
So now
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, next time if I ever see you at the rink, I'll bring a bag of milk. Next time I'm in Canada, I'll bring some and you gotta try it. I don't know if it tastes any
It's probably
different.
terrible.
No, it's way better. I
Is
think.
it?
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A bag of milk compared to one in a carton, like I think it's so much better.
All right.
Perfect. There you go. So bag of milk. I'm assuming your carton of milk.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Next one is car or truck.
Car.
I'm truck.
Truck. All right. Is there a reason behind that, or?
It's just I mean I'm pretty big, so
Yeah.
the smaller cars don't always fit, and with my especially driving, my hips get so tight in tight cars, so definitely truck.
Feel that. Snow or rain?
Snow. 100%.
Yeah.
That was an easy one.
Yeah. No, man, trust me. I'm from Vancouver, right? So like we get rain like crazy, and it's like people are like, "Oh, you actually like living in Buffalo?" I'm like, "Man, like isn't it so cold?" I'm like, "Yeah, but like at least there's times where like it's still blue skies and sunny. It's beautiful out. Even though it's cold, it's like I'd rather that than 35 days straight of just rain all the time."
Sure.
Like,
That's where I grew up. It's all rain too.
Yeah.
It's just it sucks.
yeah, tough. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Something called Midsommar back in Sweden.
Okay. What's
Explain.
the
Yeah, please.
It's like in the middle of the summer. I think it's June 25th or something.
Mm-hmm.
You just celebrate the summer with all your friends. You're dancing and you're playing games and you're having a blast.
we might have to take a trip.
Yeah,
We might
Yeah,
have to come
no,
down
it's
to see you.
amazing. Yeah,
That sounds unreal.
that's on my bucket list. Smooth or crunchy? Peanut butter.
Smooth.
smooth.
Really?
We're both crunchy.
See,
I'm a huge
he
crunchy.
changed me. He changed the way I look at it. But I was always a smooth guy. And on road trips, he couldn't do anything but crunchy. He'd freak out. He'd be like, "No, it needs to be crunchy."
Superstitious.
Yeah.
Superstitious. Cooking or cleaning?
Cooking. 100%.
No, I'm cleaning. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tacos or burritos?
Oof.
It's tacos like these hard.
Yeah, the
hard-
yeah.
I have burritos.
I'll do
sure.
burritos. Yeah.
See, I'm
Yeah.
taco all day.
Really?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're like
No.
it
Like, yeah,
crunches and
just-
folds
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but I don't know.
messy.
Like, I love nachos, and I think that's where it comes from. But
Then buy some nachos.
Yeah, buy some nacho next to the burrito.
hey,
Yeah.
guys, okay. On a long drive, do you listen to music or podcasts?
I love podcasts, so pretty much always podcasts.
I would say both if it's a long
Yeah.
road trip.
A bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll probably start off with music, and then I get bored of the music, and then jump into a podcast to try to keep my mind going. So I feel you on that.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Comedy, 100%.
Yeah, you guys scared or?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I know it's a horror movie or show, I just want to watch
Like,
it.
it's
it,
not. What's the point of get scared?
I agree. I'm the same way.
That's a good way of looking at it. I don't know. Like
my girl loves horror movies, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? So we can go to bed like just like checking every
Yeah,
corner?
and then when she, tell me if I'm wrong, but she's in bed like it's dark and she's scared.
yeah,
Is it true?
yeah, oh yeah.
Why do you look at?
And then they're grabbing me like, do something. I'm like, you do something.
Yeah, exactly.
you wanted this. Yeah.
Like this is your fault. All right, that pretty much wraps that up. Yeah, we don't really, man. Listen, thank you guys both for jumping on. We know you guys are incredibly busy, so taking the time is definitely huge. And everything that we've heard about both of you guys, being humble, hardworking guys, it just reflected that with kind of getting to know you guys today. So definitely appreciate you guys jumping on, and hopefully we'll see you around the rink soon.
Yeah, and definitely we'll have to get a golf round in. Maybe we can go, me and Rasmus for C2.
Yeah,
Take your money.
that doesn't sound fair at all. We're talking.
That's how I said it.
No, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, before we go, we want to finish with fan questions from you, the fans. First question, Kenny wants to know how we pick our goal songs.
Oof, that's a good one. Because it takes a long time. It really feels like as soon as the season's over, you're like, all right, what's my song gonna be next year? And of course, you got to do the test, right? You got to put it on in your car. You got to absolutely blast it and see if it gets you going or not. I think for me, the key is to find something that I love, but also I feel like that the fans will kind of resonate with as well, and kind of have a bit of a message in there too. So that's kind of, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's like a feel almost
Yeah.
for me. What about you?
I like to ask around a little bit to an extent, but again, like you said, I like to know what will get me going, but also the fans. My past few have been a little bit of throwbacks that have a really good beat to them. I know people bark when I score, so it's a little bit, it throws me off a little bit because you can't really hear my song all too
At
much,
first,
which is okay because I do like the fans getting involved in that sense, but
You like the fans barking
But
at
I'm
you?
like, I'm trying to like hear it, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? But again, I like to kind of put a throwback that people haven't heard in a while, and they're like, oh wow, I remember this song, and like, yeah.
100%. All right. Well, next question. Tony says, we know you guys are super focused during the games, but are there any traditions of Bandit Land that stand out that you enjoy seeing?
Yeah, there's a few. Number one, I think, would be when the other team gets in the penalty box, the BOX chant. Those are always really cool. Obviously, running out of the tunnel is probably the biggest goosebumps. But like I said, and I've said this many times to you specifically, and is when we're standing. We run out of the tunnel. We're all standing ready for O Canada and the anthem. And when everybody starts chanting,
Let's go
Bandits, it gives me goosebumps. Like, you hear it. Well, they boo the crowd first.
Yeah.
They
boo the other team.
Sorry, they boo the other team
Yeah.
first. And then they go, let's go Bandits. And they keep chanting, and it's louder and louder. It legit gives me goosebumps. But how about you?
Yeah, that's no. It's funny though, cause like we stand right next to each other, and like a lot of times we look over each other like, let's go.
Right.
Like it's time to go now.
Right.
And you can just feel the energy kind of start to flow through your body. It's really a crazy experience. Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, you know, after we break it down in our locker room and we're kind of going in the hallway getting ready, and you hear those bagpipes start playing, and it's just like, oh, that's like the cue. It's like, oh, it's time. It's game time,
Right.
man. Like, and you're just walking, and I don't know, there's something that just kind of like takes over you. It's definitely pretty wild. And then another one that I like personally, it's the classic, what's he got? Right? Especially when V makes a big save and everyone's just like, nothing! Like, get some!
Right.
Like,
And then we know, okay, we have a chance to score next.
yeah, exactly. That's
Cue,
our
cue.
time to go here.
Right.
Like, let's make something happen. Those are probably, there's a lot, man. There's so much about
Right.
Bandit Land that you just get so fired up with. And it's funny to see, like, really the different people when they come to our games, especially if it's for the first time, they're like, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
They're
right.
like, where did I walk into?
Right.
What is happening
But by
right
the
now?
end of it, they know
They're-
every chant.
yeah.
They're like, oh, this is my favorite chant.
Yeah.
It's all cool. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There's music playing all the time. Like, all this cool
Yeah.
stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
they get hooked. But third question, Owen wants to know what we do for fun outside of lacrosse.
I don't know if I would call it fun, but I try to golf. It's something that, you know, I've started over the past couple of years. So, you know, the first couple of years that you start playing golf, it's very frustrating and annoying, especially when you and Klooch are very good at the game and like to chirp me as I chili dip the ball. But that's one thing. And then another thing that, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily for fun, but it's just like a new passion that I've had is trying to get into the real estate market. You know, I want to be, you know, more than a lacrosse player. And I do feel like real estate's a great way to create wealth. And that's somewhere that I'm trying to find my own little niche in the real estate market. What about you?
Okay, I like to golf, but that's
Yeah.
you already said that. But tennis is what I picked up during COVID. Got pretty competitive with that, and I'm stubborn. I don't want to take lessons, but I like to beat all my teammates and that stuff. I love to travel. That's one thing that I like to do in my pastime. And what else? There's one other thing. Yeah, I don't know. There's a few different things, but no.
You love shoes. I'll give you that.
No, I like to buy shoes, yes, but that's not something that I like to talk about because I regret sometimes doing so. But I love to travel. Like, I like to go around the world and experience different things. And okay, the last thing I like to do is I like to coach. I like to give back to the younger kids. I find it so funny because different age groups are different, are funnier. Obviously, they're different, but the younger group, they don't know what they're doing. They say random stuff, but it's just fun to be a part of. And then as you get older, like they're telling you like random stuff that happens in high school and stuff like that. You're like, okay, you shouldn't be telling me this. We should be playing right now. Like, relax. But it's just cool to give back, but also like see kids at a young age become who they are when you get older, because we kind of start them at a young age, and then as we see them, we're like, wow, we coached you years ago. Like, this is crazy to see. So those are my top 3.
Well, what I find the cool part about coaching is like it almost feels like you kind of get the kid brought out of you again. You know what I mean? Like they're just, especially at the younger ages, they're so simple. Their minds work just like very just like one direction, right. And like they're just not a care in the world. And it's refreshing to go spend an hour to 3 hours coaching a bunch of little rugrats and just seeing the joy that they get out of the game. Is definitely a really cool thing. So I definitely have to agree with you on that. I think we have one more question here. Greg wants to know what our favorite thing is about Buffalo. That's a tough question.
My favorite thing about Buffalo, I think just how close of a community it is. We talked about it earlier, and I really do mean that. Like, first things first, obviously sports. It's like, you win or lose, like Buffalo's behind you, and they're very harsh on you when you lose, but they're always very positive, and you want that. You need that feedback, because I'm really hard on myself when I lose, and I'm really happy when we win. So like, I get it, like I get where they're coming from, and they just love Buffalo sports, and that would be a huge thing. But also like the things that people do in the community in general, like giving back and supporting each other, helping each other. And it's just such a close family. I feel like it's grown so much. I came here in 2012, and I came in thinking, wow, this place is, I don't know about this place. I don't know if I could live here. I don't know what's going on. In my first few years, I'd be traveling back and forth, and now here I am building a house here. So it is home now, and yeah.
I think for me, it's like how secretive Buffalo is. You know what I mean? So like, there's that saying like, keep Buffalo a secret. And I think it's a lot to do with what you're saying. It's like a lot of people who haven't been to Buffalo and that have never lived here or even visited here, they don't know how awesome of a city this is. Right. So that's something that, and I was with you. Like when I got drafted in 2018, I was like, yeah, I got drafted to Buffalo, and people in Vancouver were like, Buffalo? Right. they were like, you got drafted where? Like, do they have like electricity over there? I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna find out. And as soon as I got here, I'm like, this place is incredible. Right. Like everywhere you go, it's always fun. Whether it's going out to your local pub and kind of having a good time there, or just talking to people in general. Everyone's always so kind and so welcoming. So that's my thing, is keep Buffalo a secret.
Yeah, it's funny trying to like convince people, being like that Buffalo's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh no, like you got to come, like, and you want to be able to like convince them, because once you get them here, they're love it, right?
Yeah.
And my first thing when I tell people, it's always like, okay, like, I get it, you don't want to come in the winter, but like come in the summer. Summers in Buffalo are fun, and to experience that, and I hope everybody kind of gets like a taste of it, because again, it's different than what you think, and like you said, it's a big secret.
Yeah, big time. No, it's something that I definitely did not expect, and it's cool because I even talked to some of the rookies on our team. They're like, Buffalo's lit. Right. Buffalo's lit, man. Like, I like this place. I'm like, yeah, man. Like, people don't realize. So, no, it's definitely a really cool thing, and definitely proud to call Buffalo home now. All right, that was a really cool conversation with Rasmus and Owen. I felt like it was just really. It's just a different perspective that they had, and to see the way that they look at different game day routines and all that stuff, I felt like it was really cool. So I appreciate them jumping on the podcast with us. It's a pretty cool thing for them to do and take some time out of their day. We're back this weekend against Rochester, a big one. Can't wait to see Bandit Land come out and show out. So fired up for that.
Yeah, and we're on the road against Philly and New York on the 27th and 28th, and then we'll be back home in Bandit on Saturday, February 4th, Native American Heritage Night. Can't wait to see you guys there, and we're excited to be back home.